After a minute or so, a little less, you're going to get to this page. This is the final screen. This means everything has worked out. Our system hasn't failed, and I want to apologize to you ahead of time. We are still working out some tweaks because there are so many variables and options here. It's been very difficult for us to test in all possible combinations, and we've had some clients send back some bugs, and I apologize about that. If you encounter a bug, you're going to see an error message. My advice would be to take a screenshot of that error message, email us along with how you got that error message. What did give us an overview of what you put in the system, and we will get to it immediately. We won't leave you hanging. In worst case scenario, we have the ability to generate operating agreements on our end as long as we know what you want and need, so we won't leave you hanging for very long. But your feedback is valuable, and we will work hard to fix the problem. But at any rate, you see here we haven't had a problem. We have our final screen, and we have our documents. We can click on these links here and actually download them to the computer. I can type in my email address, and I can have the document mailed to me for my convenience. I'm going to show you though, I'm going to click on the PDF file. They're both identical, just one is a PDF that you can't edit, and it's compact, it's easy to email. The Word document's a little bigger, but it's great for editing, taking to your lawyer to finalize, or even for yourself to tweak. So I'm going to show you the PDF document, and this is what it looks like. It is, we have the first page, which is kind of a thank you page with instructions. So we tell you detailed instructions, first review it, and review our instructions, review the operating agreement itself, hire a lawyer. If depending on the answers and the questions that you put into our system, we are going to have other pieces of advice for you. Then we also have additional steps and recommendations that are optional. But this document is going to be a really important document that you really do need to read. The next group of documents is the operating agreement itself. And I had told you earlier in this video that it's a New Mexico company. I did not put in my principal place of office, so it's going to be a blank there. I did not specify a tax status. And I cheated earlier. I said I was married to my wife, and then I changed it saying that I wasn't married to be able to show some options regarding book value and fair market value. And because of that, it created a partnership for me versus a disregarded entity. Otherwise, if I would have left the status as a husband and wife team, we're both located in a community property state, the system would have made that disregarded. And then because of disregarded, you're not going to see adjusted capital account deficit. This applies to partnerships versus C corporations or S corporations. So a partnership, there's a lot of language here, a lot of really important language to maintain the partnership, to protect you in case there's a disassociation by a member, if there's an IRS audit. There's a lot of detailed stuff in here that hopefully you'll never need. But if you do need it, you're going to be glad that it's here. We define the membership interest, the units, the list is endless about this document. So I'm going to scroll quickly. What you're looking at here is a multi-member operating agreement relating to member-managed partnership. We have lots of powers, how they're allocated. We have to deal with money issues, distributions, and profits and losses. We're going to have language in here. Further down, if we talked about IP, you'd see that. We didn't, so it's not here. We deal with accounting and record keeping, and partnership representative is really an important piece, by the way. You're not going to see that in most operating agreements because they're old. Partnership representative replaced the tax matters partner, and I think that was done in 2017. And it's really important to have this language in there, because if the IRS does an audit and you don't have the language in there, the IRS can assign its own partnership representative who's responsible for your company. You certainly don't want that to happen. There's all kinds of other things here. Can you sell units, transfer units? We give the company right of first refusal based on some of the defaults you've given us. I talked a little bit about disassociation and events of disassociation, when it happens, what happens, whether you do book value or fair market value for some of these, how you calculate that. This is a very robust very high quality operating agreement that will keep you out of trouble, hopefully, if you ever have any problems down the road, and hopefully you won't. But it's very smart. It puts in the signature lines, puts in the ownership information, the capital contributions, the number of units or percent owned. Because I specified, remember I said I cheated, and I said that my wife and I weren't actually married. I went back and changed that. So it's treating us as two non-married partners, and therefore we care about spousal consents and the spouse coming to try and take ownership. So we have a spousal consent language in the operating agreement, as well as a template that both members should have signed if they can. Now, the operating agreement is done, but we have more information here for you. We put in some information and templates. The first is what we call your instructions to us. What did you tell us and why? So we have all the basic company information, the ownership information, and then here are the preferences for the operating agreement. And you're going to see there's just a lot of variables and things that our system defaults to and that you can change if you wanted to. And you can see here I accepted pretty much all the defaults, but we have pages of this. And that's really because everybody's company is different. There's, the template operating agreements out there today, the free templates, do not serve you, do not serve your business. And, everybody's business and the way they do business is different. So we have about 8 pages of defaults in stuff. And if you remember, I changed the gender preference from neutral to female, and it's telling us this. And we have this document here for a couple of reasons. One is it acts as a good overview for you, so that if you ever want to change your operating agreement, you can look at that. And then 2, if there's ever a problem because our system made a mistake, if you can send us this will help us fix the mistake and then give you a new operating agreement. Finally, we have a couple of overviews. One is a tax overview. Instead of having to read the 60 pages of nonsense that only lawyers can love, we put a 2-page, 1 or 2 page, depending on the complexity of your tax status, we give you an overview and tell you what's going on. And it's for your company. We indicate, you've specified a partnership tax status, what it means, tell you what to be aware of and how to be careful. We also talk about the tax partnership representative, and I defined it as my wife. And we also say you need a vote of the members regarding routine matters, a routine vote, to change the partnership representative or before she can spend money or take actions on behalf of the company. So that's a voting overview, a tax overview for your company. We also have a vote, how to vote. And we basically summarize how to call a vote and how voting even works for your company, just to give you a 1-page overview of how to do things. And then finally, we give you a members resolution. So when you do call votes, you can just simply fill this out and put it in a 3-ring binder. And over time, as you call votes and do matters, you just fill this out, put it in a 3-ring binder, and you have yourself a high-quality set of company corporate documents that can survive a tax audit, can survive a lawsuit, and or some sort of dispute between the partners. And so that's everything you get when you go through our system and have our expert system generate a Couture operating agreement. So that ends my long video here. I appreciate your time. If you have questions, please let us know. Otherwise, we look forward to doing business with you and helping you set up and move your company forward. My name was Larry Donahue with Law for Small Business, and you can go to our website at www.l4sb.com. That's the letter L, the number 4, the letter S, the letter B.com. Thank you.